Everybody, welcome to the Ed Cachosa Chambers here at the Board of Trustees. I'm sorry. We are opening up the public hearing, and the purpose of the public hearing is to present the 2017-2018 Texas Academic Performance Report. Our presenter is Ronaldo J. Cavazos.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wanted to make a brief presentation of our 2018 Texas Academic Performance Report. We do have some handouts if you all are interested. Those are there for you. If you all don't have a copy, I left some there with the principals. Maybe if you can pick a copy up, and then that'll be available. Just for your information, the taper report and the presentation will be posted on our district's website as well. So if you all want to do that, you can look at it online. What I'm going to ask, if you all don't mind, Mrs. Garcia, if you can advance that or open it up. So I'm going to just quickly go through and tell everybody that the taper report has been revised since over the last couple of years. Since the last system was done away with, they replaced it with the taper. The old academic excellence indicator system was replaced with a new performance reporting system that they call taper. And for 2018, what we wanted to do was to go over some of the scores for our district. So if you all don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and ask, if you don't mind, Mrs. Garcia, go over to page 9. And it's going to give you just a brief overview of where our district and campuses were. If you all look at that, you can tell that we did meet standard across the board. Every campus and the district met standard. It also gives you, on the handout there, it gives you a breakdown of some of the distinctions that our campus has earned. I want to make note of that as well. And I know that principals look very closely at accountability. I think we're focused right now on trying to earn as many distinctions as possible. So those are some of the things that we're working on as a goal. So the next page, on page 10, we're going to start out with third grade. This is a reading report. So this is third grade STAR. So it talks about the reading performance, and you can see how we did as a district for reading and for math for third grade. We were at 70%. The region was at 79%. The state was at 77%. For math, we're at 75. The state was at 78, and the region was at 82. So, and then moving on to fourth grade, looking at the three content areas, we scored a 63 in reading, 78 in math, and a 55 in writing overall. Next page, page 12, for fifth grade. For reading, we scored a 77. You can see we're a little closer in line with the state and region. For math, we're at an 83. And then for science, we're at a 70. The next page is our EOC report. Talking about the English 1 score, we're at 55% for English 1. English 2, we're at 65%. For Algebra 1, we're at 76%. And then for Biology, we're at 89. And then for U.S. History overall, we're at 94. Okay? So for all grades on page 14, this is looking at all content areas together. For reading, we're at 63 overall. For math, we're at 73. For writing, we're at 54. For science, we're at 73. And then for social studies, we're at 70. And you can see the comparisons to the region and state as well. So the next few pages, starting on page 15, break down the same subjects and same data for each of our campuses. And so I'm going to just real quickly go over Garcia Elementary for third grade. For reading, they were at 62%. The district average was at 70. For math, Garcia for third grade was at 74%, and the district was at 75. For fourth grade, you can see the scores. For reading, Garcia was at 60. For math, they were at 75. And then for writing, they were at 59. Fifth grade for Garcia. For reading, they were at 67. For math, 83. And for science, at 64. And then for Kennedy, for third grade, for reading and math, Kennedy was at 81. Math was at 78. The district for reading average was 70. And then for math, it was at 75. For fourth grade at Kennedy, the reading score was 64%. The math score was 78%. And the writing score was at 55%. For fifth grade, for reading, they were at 77%. For math, 85%, excuse me, sorry. They were at 85%. For math, they were at 83%. And for science, they were at 77%. Rodriguez Elementary, third grade, for reading, they were at 61%. For math, they were at 74%. For fourth grade, for reading, the score at RCR was 60%. For math, 78%. And for writing, 38%. For fifth grade at RCR, we had 80% for reading, 81% for math, and 73% for science. And then finally, LBJ, we had 74% for reading at LBJ for third grade, and 75% for math for third grade. For fourth grade at Johnson Elementary, we had 69% for reading, 84% for math, and then 63% for writing. You can see in some cases the schools did very well and exceeded both the region and the state. Here's another example, fifth grade. For fifth grade at LBJ, we're at 78% for reading, 88% for math, and 68% for science. Now, a little earlier I was talking about our overall scores for the district for grades 3 to 5. Being that we have a single middle school, here are the sixth grade results for reading and for math. For Truan STEM Academy, for reading they were at 55%, and for math they were at 67%. That's sixth grade. For seventh grade, for reading they were at 54% for reading, 54% for math, and 54% for writing. And then at eighth grade at Truan, we were at 71% for reading, 73% for math, 58% for science, and 45% for social studies. And then finally, for the EOC for the high school, for Truan Academy, their EOC scores, for English 1, they were at 95%, and for Algebra 1, they were at 100%. Okay? High school EOC results for last year, English 1, the high school is at 53%. English 2, they were at 53%. For Algebra 1, they were at 50%. For Biology, they were at 89%. And then for U.S. History, they were at 96%. For, sorry, let me go back. That was the academy, I'm sorry. That was not the high school. That was the high school academy, excuse me. The next page, page 32, is a high school. The high school EOC scores, English 1 was at 54%, English 2 at 66, Algebra 1 was at 75, Biology was at 89, and U.S. History at 94. The next few pages are some of the other additional data that the state puts out through the TAPER report. They do put out attendance and annual dropout rates for the 16-17 school year. The graduation rate for the district was at 97.7%. For the region, we're at 90.3%. Attendance rate for last year, we're at 95.5%. And this is back in 16-17, which is 2 years ago. For the region, the region was at 95.7%. Annual dropout rate for grades 7 and 8 was 0.4% for the district. Annual dropout rate for grades 9 to 12 was 1.3%. The region where annual dropout rate for grades 9 to 12 was 1.8%. The recommended high school and distinguished achievement program graduates, advanced course and dual enrollment data also is included in the report for 16-17. The recommended high school program graduates, we were at 96.5%. Advanced course dual enrollment completion, we're at 25%. The region was at 44.6%. The state was at 37.1%. That's an area that we need to focus on. That's one of our targets. College-ready graduates, the percentage was 26.8%. The region was at 51.0%. SAT results for the district. For class of 17, the number tested, or percentage tested, was at 57.7%. The region was at 69.3%. The average SAT score was a 908. For the region, it was a 970. For ACT, the average score was a 16.6 and 17.8 for the region. And then graduates in Texas institutions of higher education were at 48.3%, and the region was at 54.4%. Next page, page 36, is student demographic information, basically talking about our population in our district. In 17, using the 17 data, we were at 5181 total enrollment. Economically disadvantaged percentage was 99%. Our ELL percentage was at 25.4%. And then we had a disciplinary placement rate of 2.3% and an at-risk rate of 61.4%. Student enrollment by program, our bilingual ESL, we're at 25.2. The region is at 36.5. Our CAPE program, we're at 27.7. The region was at 27.9. GT, we're at 11.7. The region was at 8.5. And special education, we're at 8.2. The region was at 8.0. And then finally, there's some staff information as well. If you all are interested, you can look at that. I'm not going to go over those details. And then what I will do is go back to the very end and just talk very briefly about one report that the state does ask us to look at, and that's the Violent Criminal Incidents Report for 16-17. We are looking at the number of incidences that occurred in the district by campus, so you all can look at the report. It gives you those numbers. And then finally, the budget information is also part of the report and is at the very end, and it's broken down. This is also for year 16-17. And this is our actual financial data from that year. Okay? Are there any questions, anyone? Any comments? Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. Cavazos. That will end our public hearing, and the time is 7:22 p.m. And we will reconvene right now for the special meeting.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Today, February 27, 2019, I call this meeting to order. The time is 7:26 p.m. I call a special meeting of the Edcott Just Independent School District to order. Mr. Morales, now a roll call, please.
Yes, sir. President Robert Smulders.
Present.
Vice President Chris Morales, present. Trustee Juan Ibarra.
Here.
Trustee Bobby Peacock. Trustee Rolando Lozano.
Here.
Trustee Fernando Torres.
Present.
Trustee Tony Barco.
Here.
Board President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Morales. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Give me rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation afterwards. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Morales, can you lead us in the invocation?
Sure. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Bless the Lord in all decisions we're about to make today, that they are in in the best interest of our students, our staff, and our districts. All this we pray in your name, in the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Morales. I have 3 consent items, where it's only one under out-of-state travel.
If there's no discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve all consent agenda items as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Lozano, second by Mr. Torres. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, item 4, discussion and action items. We'll go off to item A, discussion and action to approve the 2017-2018 Texas Academic Performance Report. This was presented during the public hearing. There was no questions asked during the public hearing.
I move that we approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Barco, second by Mr. Lozano. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item B, discussion and possible action to approve pay application number 1 for Science Brother Construction for Ag Barn Facility.
I move that we approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Barco, second by Mr. Lozano. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item C, discussion and possible action to authorize administration to solicit requests for proposals regarding security services. Mr. Cavazos.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The district administration is requesting permission to go out for RFPs for security services for the district and to use those services as necessary and when needed.
This is just for additional services, correct?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lozano, second by Mr. Torres. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item D, discussion and possible action to approve memorandum of understanding between Ed Calchas ISD and licensed child care centers. Ms. Mary Gonzalez.
Mrs. Gonzalez is not here, Mr. President. I'll take care of this particular item. Last meeting, we approved the campus charter program so that we could work with our local daycare centers. Part of that process is an MOU that needs to be signed between each of those daycare providers and the district, and that's the MOU that's in your packet. I move that we approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Barco, second by Mr. Lozano. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item E, discussion and possible action to amend compensation plan regarding bus driver pay.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve a $1 increase in compensation for our bus drivers.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Lozano, second by Mr. Barco. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item F, request to approve proposal submitted in response to RFQ for speech services. Ms. Itza Flores.
All the things we
Real quick, I'm sorry, hold on one second, Mr. Flores. I need to go back to item E real quick. And I know we have the transportation department here, and I know you all have been really working hard on our transportation department. And with, I know this last weekend it was a tough weekend, and I know you all were able to get through, but it was just one of those weekends. But you all did a very good job. The parents were very happy with how you all responded, and we're able to get those kids back, our students back safely. So I just want to thank you all for doing that for us. So I know we're short-staffed on bus drivers, and we need to be competitive with other school districts that are nearby. And I know this is why this board has gone forth with the compensation plan in taking care of you all for everything you all do for our students and making sure they're safe to and from events or the schools. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Flores, sorry. I jumped. I needed to say that.
Request to accept Victor Rehab for speech services.
Okay. They're local, Ms.?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lozano, second by Mr. Barco. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item G, discussion and possible action to approve request for qualifications for after-school meal program. Mr. Cavazos.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, the administration would like to request permission to go out for RFQs for after-school meal program, hopefully starting early next year in the fall.
So moved. Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Closed session, Mr. Maddox, we don't need to go into closed session.
No.
No, Mr. President, I have a
Okay, so if there is nothing, nobody else needs to go into executive, right? That's okay, everything's okay. So we're gonna go into adjournment.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Lozano, second by Mr. Torres, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, the time is 7:31 PM. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.